So let's get to it.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about warts. Warts are caused by the human papillomavirus. It doesn't act like a lot of viral infections. Usually you think viral infections and you think coronavirus, something you can't see, upper respiratory infections, colds, flu, that kind of thing. But in this case, the virus, there's about 200 versions of the human papillomavirus. Other names that it goes by: Verruca Plantaris, Verruca Plantar Warts, a lot of different names. But essentially what it'll do is it'll get into the skin on the bottom of your foot, usually on a weight-bearing surface where you came in contact with it from somebody else gifted it to you. The virus gets into the skin, it starts to make the skin grow faster. It's kind of like cancer. It's not cancer, but it's like that. You'll see these bumps grow really big and they can hurt to walk on. They can even create a thick callus over the top, which can be painful. With the coronavirus going around, you hate to even mention the word virus. This is a different type. It's got some very unusual characteristics where it really prefers the foot and the hands. There are STD type verruca wart infections, but they don't usually have anything to do with what we see with the foot. I was recently told that there are over 200 different variations of the plantar wart or foot wart virus. I see different characteristics when people come in. Sometimes they're very thin and they're spreading, sometimes they're very deep. But most of them move very slowly. I've had many people tell me they had a little wart that was there for years and didn't seem to do anything. Other people come in and say they notice one show up and then another one a month or two later, and so on. So compared to bacterial infections, which can kill you in days to weeks and move rapidly through your body, the wart virus, specifically the Verruca virus that gives you plantar warts, moves very slowly usually. So usually you're going to find a wart anywhere on the plantar weight-bearing surface of the foot. It can be on the heel, it can be on the toes, the ball of the foot. Occasionally it'll be on the top of the foot. That's pretty rare. It can be in between the toes. Anywhere that there's direct contact, you're going to see it. So that tells you a lot about where you got the wart. Usually the virus shows up after you've been in a public space or you've worn shoes that belong to someone else. A lot of times my high school swim teams or other swimmers will get them because they're running around the pool area without foot protection on, and they're picking up this virus from somebody else. It may take a while for it to present, and you may not know it's there for months to years. So always inspect the bottom of your foot, your hands. What you're looking for is a little bump. When they're small, it's a little tiny bump where the skin lines actually go around it. So it looks like an island in the middle of a river where the current's kind of going around it. So your skin lines actually go around the wart. Unlike other types of skin problems like cancer, where the skin lines usually continue right through the wart. It often has if it gets bigger, it often has a look with little black dots, little pinpoint black dots through it. People often say, "Oh, I noticed there's seeds in my wart." Well, while they may look like seeds on some kind of fruit or something, it's actually not seeds. What it is if you look under a microscope, the wart creates its own blood vessels. We're talking little microscopic blood vessels, and they clot off easily because they're so small and they're very prominent. They're sticking out in this foot lesion. So they clot off and it gives you these little black blood clots that are inside. So that's where you get the black dots from. I mentioned before, the callus can form around the wart or on top of it, which can make it really hurt because it gets so thick. It's like having a rock stuck to your skin. Sometimes you can't see the wart until you've trimmed away that dead skin, but it almost always has that characteristic sign. So either black pinpoint spots around it, skin lines going around it. It's going to be tender when you squeeze it from side to side. Excuse me. They can bleed easily. The Verruca virus has this propensity to create its own blood flow, so they do bleed easily. All these things can help you diagnose a wart quickly. When I was in training, I rotated through a lot of podiatry and dermatology clinics, and every one of them was treating warts, and unfortunately I noticed a lot of them were treating them differently. So I became discouraged because it didn't seem like there was a silver bullet for wart treatments. And there still isn't one today, but I've found some pretty good options. By far, there's a couple of guidelines you just have to follow. When you're talking about the bottom of the foot, the last thing you want to create is a scar. If you create a scar either by cutting or burning or puncturing, that scar itself, even if the wart goes away or whatever the problem is you're trying to treat, if the problem goes away and you're left with a scar, the scar itself can create a callus, which can be very painful to walk on, and you'll have to go see your podiatrist or have a pedicure all the time because that callus can be so thick it hurts to walk on. So the treatment should cause very little scarring if it's going to be successful in the long run. The one treatment I have found that works the best, bar none, and leaves the least amount of scarring is injections of Bleomycin. Now we use what's called a Madajet. It's a little handheld device that forces a column of fluid into the wart without using a needle. Now that may sound like it doesn't hurt. It still hurts. It's like being flipped with a rubber band pretty hard, but it doesn't hurt as bad as a needle. When people tell me they've had both done, they say this one doesn't hurt as bad, but it still stings. Anyway, we use this Madajet to inject the Bleomycin, which is mixed with a little local anesthetic with a tiny bit of epinephrine in it, into the wart area. I like to hit them 3 or 4 times if they're a small wart, or 3 or 4 times per area inside a large wart. It penetrates deep enough and gets things going well enough that you don't have to do anything else. So what happens is you inject the Bleomycin into the wart. Bleomycin is actually a chemotherapy type drug. Don't worry, we're using such a little amount that you're not giving somebody chemotherapy. They're not going to get nauseated and vomit and all that. But to the local area where it's injected, it can be very caustic and it'll kill the wart and the skin it's in. With this Madajet, the depth is calibrated. It gets in there deep enough, but not too deep. People usually come back in about 3 weeks, and what I expect to happen is initially, for a couple of days, it's sore, it's going to be tender. I usually give them some felt padding to put around it so they don't have to step right on the wart area. They do need to put some topical antibiotics on it and a Band-Aid for the first few days. Once the little puncture hole from the injection heals up, technically they don't need to use anything at all because there's no hole to get infected through. Over about 3 weeks, you'll see the wart slowly turn into a black, hard blood blister. It's not super impressive, and sometimes it doesn't at all. It doesn't look like anything happened. So people come back, I'll check them out, and they say, "Doc, I don't think it worked. Nothing, doesn't look like anything happened." But I'll take my scalpel, slowly trim away the dead skin and the wart itself, and the whole thing falls out. They'll be left with a little pocket, and deep in there, it'll look like there's kind of a black hole, which may be confused as a residual wart that was failed to die. But the truth is it's killed off a deep bit of skin, and deep inside that pocket, there's still healing. So you may have a little scab, a little pocket that needs to heal. Don't be worried, that'll scab up and fall off in time, and you'll be fine. So within 3 to 4 weeks, you can tell if it worked or not. I have people come back, clean it up. They may need to use a Band-Aid, some more offloading felt, and some topical antibiotics for a few days, and then they're good to go. This virus is persistent. You may have little warts in the periphery that you didn't see or that I can't see initially, and they may pop up a month or 2 later. There's a theory that any way you treat a wart, you're going to stir it up, and you may be introducing it into new places. So I always wear gloves, try to wash off the area and try to be sterile about it. But my point is you have to keep an eye out. I tell people I don't rest easy after wart treatments till it's been 6 months to a year or 2 years, with repeat visits every 6 months from the patient if they've had a lot of warts to see if anything's come back, because it's super common for it to come back. It's very possible that a callus will form after the wart is healed up just because the body's still trying to recreate different layers of skin. So it's not uncommon for a patient to come back and say, your treatment failed, it looks like there's still a wart, I'll trim it away and it's just a callus, and usually they're good to go and it doesn't come back. So there are a million ways of treating warts. I highly recommend against surgery. It leaves a scar. The scar itself can be painful and create calluses in the future. I hate cauterization that is burning the wart off. I hear some crazy stories about trying to engage the immune system, and so they'll cut the wart out, flip it upside down, and put it back in there so the bloodstream is in better contact with it. I can't think of a better way to get an infection or create scar tissue than that. So I'm not a big fan. While it's clever, it just doesn't need to happen. It's unnecessary and doesn't work that well. Some simple treatments that there actually have been a couple of good studies. Duct tape for one, surprisingly, if you cover it with duct tape, somehow it kills the wart. It's called occlusion. It goes back to skin that's too wet, turns white and kind of dies off. If you've noticed that, if you do that with a wart, it can actually kill the wart and get rid of it. It's not super effective. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone, but if nothing else fails and you can't afford to go to the doctor or whatever, sure, try it for a while. There are a million topical wart treatments out there over the counter. Oftentimes it's salicylic acid or something similar to that, where you're literally burning a little bit of skin off and you have to keep reapplying it. Sometimes it comes in medicated patches where it's in a little band-aid and you stick it on there. I don't see a lot of success with these. It must work for some people, otherwise they wouldn't keep selling them, you would hope. But for big warts, thick warts, persistent warts, they're usually just not good enough. There are a lot of other options. You can use what's called DNCB. This is a topical chemical you have to get from the pharmacy. This is a way of engaging the immune system. You put it on the wart. It slowly creates kind of a sunburn-like effect. It's the immune system getting irritated. You keep putting it on the wart. Eventually, the immune system starts to attack the wart as well, and the wart will go away. I have seen patients of mine who have 50 warts, 100 warts of both feet, just beyond the ability to go through and inject them all in a reasonable amount of time or safely. So I will prescribe DNCB. They apply it. It may take 6 to 8 weeks to work. You have to be very patient with it. You have to be persistent, put on 2, 3, even 6 times a day, whatever it takes to get that light sunburn effect going. And it can engage the immune system well enough to get rid of the wart. So that's a decent option, but you're talking about an irritation on the skin every day for up to a couple of months. So it's not the easiest treatment to go through, but might be necessary if you have a ton of warts. There's a whole class of treatments that basically burn off a layer of skin. You let it heal for a little bit, then you do it again. So you're applying it daily, weekly, or every other week. Probably the most common one is beetle juice or cantheradin. It's a strong topical you put on. It burns off a layer. Patients come back in a week or two, and we continue the process. The problem I run into with that is that the skin on the bottom of the foot heals so quickly and calluses so fast that you hardly have a chance to reapply the medication before the wart recovers, which means you're doing multiple treatments again and again until it goes away. Now, sometimes you'll get a wart on top of the foot or on top of the toes where the skin's a lot thinner. That treatment is way more successful because the skin isn't so robust. And there are areas where you don't want to inject bleomycin. It might be a little tender, or the skin might be so thin that's not where you want to do it. So that can be very successful. But in the thick skin on the bottom of the foot, I don't usually recommend it unless we have a reason for not doing bleomycin, allergies or whatnot. And so that will be something we can do. There are many, many other treatments, laser treatments where they burn out the wart, and so on. A lot of over-the-counter stuff. There's natural medicines. There are a lot of things out there that haven't been tested and that may work just fine, but in my experience, unless you're injecting bleomycin in there and killing a large, deep plug of skin, the wart is very likely to come back. So that's my recommendation. I bet it works 95% of the time. The smaller the wart, the more successful it is. You can do a whole bunch of warts and big ones, but I tell patients we're probably going to have to reapply and re-inject different areas when it comes back in the corner or somewhere we didn't see it. But so far, 8-9 years of practice, bleomycin has risen to the top as by far the most effective way of treating plantar warts, and I don't see us leaving that unless some new treatment comes out in the near future. Please remember that we are doing this for Operation Underground Railroad to help raise awareness of what they're doing. They go around the world freeing kids from sex trafficking, rings where they're being forced into horrible situations. Tim Ballard has created this nonprofit where they do sting operations, rescue these kids, put them in great recovery situations, adopt them out, whatever it takes to get these kids taken care of. This is an expensive operation to do, so they need a lot of money to carry it out. So far, I believe they've saved their 4,000th kid recently. So go to OURrescue.org, OURrescue.org, make a donation that would be equivalent to a doctor's visit. You're just giving this great information for free, and try to help these people out to rescue as many children as possible. Have a great day.